get started. So thank you all for being here. I should have made Alex a co-host so that he can help with the waiting room. That's okay. I am going to get us rolling here. My name's Chris McPeak. I work as the Director of Programs and Alumni Engagement here at Pasadena City College over in the foundation. We're also joined today by my colleague, Alex Bucklehide. And we are going to talk to you guys a little bit about a new grant program that is happening out of the college through the foundation, the Community Excellence Grants. And where's my slide forwarding? Okay, we're going to skip the icebreaker because we have a big group. So when we talk about grants, what exactly are we talking about here for this program? So as you all know, hopefully you know, because it was big news. Back in 2021, we had the amazing honor of being granted $30 million from the philanthropist MacKenzie Scott, and Dr. Ender Jonas made it pretty clear from the beginning that she wanted to be able to provide excellence grants to our college in order to elevate exceptional ideas that are going to advance our mission, vision, and values. This grant program really takes off where the previous foundation grant program ended, giving us an opportunity to really supercharge our opportunities to provide funding and experimentation space so that we can nurture, test, scale up new projects and approaching to education. What we will fund, continuing to let people into the room here. We're looking to fund student success, bottom line, completion agenda, all of the things. So we're looking to fund equipment and items that will support academic excellence and innovation related to student learning in the classroom and to the student experience in general. Anything that we think can push the needle forward, make PCC that continued place where students can grow and learn and develop, and that we can be instrumental in helping them do that. When Dr. Ender Jonas started 3-4 years ago now, within the past couple of years, she made it clear that closing that achievement gap was very important to her. So there are programs, there are initiatives out there that we can put together that will help do that. So as Bobby, my supervisor, said on Monday, we want to think big. Now, a couple clarification issues on the hardware and software. The Community Excellent Grants are not in existence to mainly upgrade your own personal equipment. But if you see something fantastic that you can use in the classroom, we can go there. What we will not be able to fund is specific individual stipends with nothing else that go with it. So we're looking to not only, if there's a person that needs to come with a program, if there's a person that needs to come with a project or initiative, that's one thing, but just the stipend itself, we're not looking to just fund individual stipends. And this is not for budget supplanting. So we're enhancing, not replacing funding. You can submit a grant request for a project that is right at 2 years, but beyond 2 years, we won't be funding in this cycle. We may do that in the future as this program grows. But for this first go around, your project should be able to be completed within 2 years. And then obviously anything that puts us in violation or is in conflict with district policies, we will not fund that. So you are currently attending one of our virtual workshops that we're doing live. We will record these and post them so you can share with your colleagues. And we will have one more workshop scheduled into next week. So folks that missed out on Monday and today will be able to check this out in person and ask questions. And we'll put the recordings of the workshops on our foundation webpage. And we'll do an FAQ section as well, because the questions that have been coming out of these workshops are super helpful. They go beyond what we've got prepared with the slides. So it's helpful to talk through these ideas in person. And I'm glad that Alex is here to help support facilitating that conversation. So you've got from today until March the 4th at precisely 11:59 p.m. because the software that we use, that's how the due dates work there. And that is the Friday going into the spring break. The selection will take place in mid-March, and recipients will be announced at the Above and Beyond Awards held on April 19th that I believe we'll be doing in person this year, unless anything drastic happens between now and then. We will make funding available for this next fiscal year. So whatever you're submitting your grant request for, just know that you'll be able to start doing what you're requesting your funding for in fiscal year 22-23. What makes for a successful application? We are looking for original, innovative, exciting, different, unique, all of the things as they pertain to student access. So again, as Bobby said the other day, think big, think beyond the clouds. Think, if I can create this project for my students, their lives are going to be advanced, their lives are going to be changed by this grant program. We want as many details as you can possibly come up with when you're explaining your project and your program. So don't just think like, oh, I have a vision of this. Have your vision and then have all the nitty gritty that goes underneath it, which is why if you are, here's an example, if you're an N on Myers-Briggs like me, you're going to want to partner with somebody who is an S on Myers-Briggs, because that big picture and those details are going to combine to make something that will be truly extraordinary, which is why I'm so glad I work for my boss, because she's an S and I'm an N, and that's why we work so well. Anyway, realistic spending plan. So what that might look like is a very detailed budget down to the penny, if you're capable of doing that at this phase. If not, a budget narrative will be super helpful in explaining to the review panel what it is you're looking to spend your money on and how it will be spent. As a reminder, we do still pay the sales tax on these things, and if you're buying stuff, we want to take shipping into consideration. So when you're doing your research, make sure that you are doing that. And think strategically. When you get together with your team every year to work on the annual update process, you're going to be thinking strategically. So do that with this grant program too. Write down all of the, what's the word I'm looking for? Your objectives. Write those things down. Get clear on not only what the program is going to do, but what it's going to take to make it happen, and all of those performance related issues that you want to define in order to make your project work. This section here, this bullet point on what you can do if you're awarded the funding, as opposed to what you can't do if you don't have the funding. So we want to think in terms of, again, we're moving our program forward because we're introducing a new program. It's not that, well, my program just won't be able to do anything good if I don't have this. So we want to think on the positive, not thinking on the negative. And then if you're not fully funded, what's your plan B? So what you're asking for might be $50,000. If the committee is only in a position to award you $30,000, what will your plan B look like? And again, to reference some of the stuff that Bobby shared on Monday, obviously, if you, just as an example, if you're asking for a football field that's 100 yards long, and we only give you 70 yards, that's not going to fully achieve your goal. But looking in terms of that project won't work now, so how can that project still be useful and doable without the 100 yards? Or maybe rethinking, maybe it's not a football field that I want, maybe it's extra space in my end zone. That's a really bad analogy, but Bobby explained it so much nicer as the football coach is watching me share this information with you guys. All right, cool. I'm going to be your point of contact throughout the application process. And we do have a program coordinator here at the foundation that's going to help out with some of these things. But I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and look at everybody and see what kinds of questions or discussion things we want to bring up. And of course, Alex, if you have anything you want to contribute to the conversation, I kind of went through that pretty quickly. So if we need to scale back, but raise your hand if you want to say something and let's just have a chat about it. Jamal.
There we go.
Oh, Alex, did you want to say something? Go ahead.
I want to make sure you can hear me. I'm having some connection issues. Chris, I think you've done a great job kind of going through the outlines here. And I think where this is really going to flourish is in the individual thoughts and innovation and creativity that's going to come through the application. So I'm curious to hear the discussion.
Thank you very much, Alex. And now I am going to go back to Jamal.
Yeah, one of the focus that I had, and I'm still working on it, is bringing more women and minorities to STEM and computer science. That's where we were talking before and all those things. For last couple of years, I have been more interested in AI and machine learning.
Sure.
So if I come up with some kind of a program, so my idea is if we have something for people to come and look at it, get involved with it, and get excited about it, then they would go take all the math classes and whatever they think is hard for them. Is that something that can be thought about, that we're going to create project or projects? Because if you remember, we had that robots that was supposed to go to the Mars, and a lot of people got a lot of attention on that one. So something similar to that, to come up with something that we want to bring the high school kid, even the community people, along with PCC students. So even it's not only computer science per se, but I'm just thinking out loud. Is that something, or it has to be PCC specific only?
Well, I think obviously the goal is to ensure student success for PCC students. But if what you're asking is to include the community so PCC students can work with high school students, I don't know that would be, I think you could pursue that. But if you were looking, I think if you were looking to create a program that would not benefit PCC students in the way that it would benefit the community, Pasadena, PUSD, whatever, I would say there would need to be a component of our student involvement in there. Does that make sense, Jamal?
Well, the problem that I had before is when we brought some project to PCC, the students and I had to go and do everything that we had to do. In addition, we had to do those things. So it was like your students had to go work and go to school,
Sure.
and then in extra time to do these kind of things. So example was that Swarmathon thing. Example was we were working with Caltech that they were making, they were trying to make a 3D house to send to Mars with the equipment that they have. And I said, okay, if we can think about a project, something like that, and not only the PCCS students going to get involved, they would have some kind of incentive on it and invite people to come in, get them excited. And now they said, oh, this is something that I want to pursue. This is something I can do. And then we can figure out how to blend them in. I'm not thinking about, we can't think about my PCCS students currently doing something as a project, but I want to expand that to say, okay, come on in, let's put the hands on this project. We give you something. I mean, we cannot pay them. We give you something. We give you, I don't know, lunch or whatever. And then they come in, they get excited about it. But the key for me is somebody somewhere has to get paid, because it's my job to do these things. I can work for free because it's part of my job. But having some extra incentive for some people, let's say PCC computer science students would get paid, I don't know, 10 hours, 15 hours to work on this project, and then take it to high school students, bring them here. I don't have the detail of it because I'm basing on before and current. I'm trying to connect them together. The goal is promote women and minority, but to promote them, we have to start from somewhere. We have to start with PCC, and we have to start with somewhere earlier. Women in high school are 50-50 in computer science, but when they come to our college, it's like I have one student, female students in my class. So somehow so we have to fix it, but it's not only PCC. We have to go back and fix something else to come to pieces.
Yeah, I don't feel a red flag coming from that concept. So Alex may feel differently, but I think I see where you're at. Yeah.
And forgive me, Chris, I dropped off there for a second. My computer
Okay.
just had to restart. So maybe I'll put in a grant application for Wi-Fi.
I was gonna say.
Jamal, I think you are on the right track. I think the things to remember with this program and just philosophically how it's being structured is, first of all, it is the first year. So we're open to ideas all over the map here. And we want to hear, again, the creativity that comes out of this. I think it's important to think about the community aspect of this grant program, so that programs that originate at PCC and help PC students are, of course, capital. But then we want to make sure we are engaging the community. So tying back to PUSD is a wonderful proposal, and would certainly, be something to take a strong look at, particularly with the drive that you're talking about for increasing, minority and female enrollment in STEM. I do want to reinforce, though, that it's a 2-year grant max, right? We're going to look for people who can come up with a program and spend the grant down within that 2-year window. And if there's going to be, some sort of ongoing, vision for the grant, that there's either a transition program to get it into other funding or whatever. But this grant program is going to be a 2-year window for funding.
Thank you.
Adrien, you have your hand up. Did I say your name right, Adrien?
Adrine.
Adrine, beautiful.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask, I believe you said that this is not a request for like equipment. We can request an equipment.
You can request equipment just as long as as upgrading your equipment is the only part of your grant. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yes, like we do serve public and we do have PCC students, and our program, with dental hygiene, and our program
Yes.
actually brings a lot of STEM students to PCC because they believe if they take prerequisites at PCC, it will be easier for them to get. Somehow that notion is there. I don't know whether it's not true, but they think if they take all the prerequisites at PCC, it will be easier for them to get to dental hygiene program or the dental programs
Sure.
at PCC. So we do serve public and we do bring people, and actually we do have young students at PCC that even didn't know about a program. Once they come and have their experiences having their teeth cleaned and all the dental services, then they decide to join the program. So okay, that was my question for equipment. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if there's new technology in your field that you want your students to be able to have access to and practice on and utilize, yes, we want you to request funding for that. If it's being able to increase the amount of equipment so that you can serve the public better and bring in more students, then yes, absolutely. I think you're totally on the right track. Henry.
Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Good morning.
I have a couple of questions I wanted to find out. Is there a section, does this grant talks about what can we do and what we cannot do? Because I couldn't find it anywhere.
Oh yeah, I think you popped on late.
I did pop on late
we did
because
share.
our building doesn't, the elevators are not functioning and I'm on the 5th floor. So I had to go zigzagging. So by the time I got here, it was late. So my apologies for that.
No, totally okay. Yeah, what I shared previously is that we're not looking to enhance individuals' specific equipment per se. We're not funding anything that would be in violation of a district or college policy. And the maximum time period for you to work on your grant would be 2 years for this cycle. We may change that on down the line, but this is the first go around. So projects that are awarded need to be completed within 2 years.
My other question is with the funding, would that pay for the advertising? Because we have the excellent programs. We have the faculties have written a lot of great programs in our, I'm in a restorative dentistry department. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, we have a low enrollments. And I'm asking funds from the school. They're not saying no to me, but they're not also saying yes to me.
Sure.
So is that part of something we can do? Because a simple magazine advertising that we have in our industry that publishes, it goes out to 17,000 people. So it goes everywhere, especially with the big laboratories, dental laboratories. And for some reason, we still don't have enrollments. Our enrollments are very high since 2019. It started in 2020, and then we're suffering from that. Basically, we had to defer one fall term. It was deferred. We didn't have any students.
Right. So you're looking to grow your program.
Yes.
Alex, what do you think? I'm not sure where I stand on that.
I would think that well, one of the things that Chris mentioned in her presentation is that we're not supposed to supplant funds with this grant program. You know, it's supposed to grow or inspire programs that could attract more students or attract different kinds of students. I'm not sure that an application that was strictly for, you know, advertising for a program would get through the process successfully. I would think more about attracting new audiences. I would think more about taking a program and bringing it to the next level. I think the focus here is more on the creativity behind you know, new ideas in education or pedagogy or administration, and not strictly on just attracting new eyeballs. That's kind of how I would read it.
Okay.
I could not have said it better myself, and that's why Alex said it.
Yeah, because we're trying to attract the new generation, the younger generation, because everything is all digital right now with the dentistry.
Sure.
So trying to attract the new generations and new younger college students. They're like, that's the most target that we're trying to target. And we really have no funding. College spent $1 million in our digital laboratory, and I just don't understand how is it that they're not coming up with $3,000-4,000 for advertising, you know? So that's my issue. But all around across the campus, all the program enrollments are low.
Sure.
It is accepted, but not in we haven't seen anything like this. We've been around since 1970s, and we never had a deferment close a fall term or a spring term because we have no students. So it's a red flag for me for that reason.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason. We do also have equipment that we want to, they're getting old, they're 20 years old. So as you mentioned to Adrina, so maybe we can write for that too, for the grant. So there's a lot of rooms that we can, I was just trying to figure out if there's any money that to grow the program, to craft our students for the correct pathways that they want. Sure. That's my only issue. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I did not tell you the dollar amount that is making up the grant itself. So we're looking to spend approximately $1 million a year. $1 million in grant funding will be available with this program. So if that helps you kind of put your brain around what you might ask for. Back in the day, some of you were here when we were still doing the smaller foundation grants. Those you were typically capped at $3,000. So we can think beyond the $3,000. I joked with Dion Miller on the Monday workshop that, you know, well, why don't we put in a grant to redo the pool, but that would take up all of the money that we have, and then that wouldn't be very fun for everybody else. So anyway, we're going to move on here to Coach Taylor, and then I want to answer some of the questions that popped up in the chat. Coach Taylor, the floor is yours.
Hey, Chris, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Happy New Year. Happy Chinese New Year to everybody too, you know.
To you as well. Thank you for being here.
What I thought about is trying to do at this point athletic activities, the gyms, and that we have 2 gyms, the W building and the GM building. All of those activities need to be any student who wants to use that needs to be in an organized class. Many students constantly ask me, Coach, can I come in and work out? Can I come in and use the gym? No, you got to be in a class. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking of some way we can get support for the community as well as students. If they have some time as faculty and staff and even community, if they can come in and use some gyms, get some funding either for staffing or improve what's happening in the W building, W201, which is the former, the women's building over there. We have that for classes. Would that be something if I could create a proposal talking with Dion to either improve some of those facilities and get some staffing, and we could offer workouts and gyms for not necessarily classes, but just availability for students, faculty, staff, and the community.
Well, speaking as someone who has always had access to that at her previous colleges and universities, my initial instinct would be to say, I think that's an incredibly splendid idea. And as somebody who also is very focused on health and wellness outside of the workplace, I love the idea behind that too. Again, I'm going to defer to my colleague Alex on the bigger picture piece of this. So Alex, where's your brain at on this question?
I echo Chris's enthusiasm. I think that's a really creative approach, Coach Taylor. I just would reinforce the fact that this grant is envisioned as a limited investment in a project to get something off the ground, to try new ideas, to do something for a couple of years. So if there's going to be something that could attract an audience or be something that would be continued beyond the life of the grant, you'd want to have a phase out plan.
Having said that, Coach Taylor, I hope that access to the bod pod would be part of your new concept of health and fitness opportunities for students, faculty, and staff outside the classroom. So
the bod pod is a thing.
We have a bod pod. Yes, we're probably like the only community college in, I don't know, however many states that has a bod pod. It's pretty.
I'm so glad I joined this call this morning to learn about the bod.
Yeah, we got some stuff. We got some stuff around. We'd like to be able to offer that to, not only faculty and staff, but I think who's to say we can make some money in, offering it to the community, come in and use facilities around here. Wasn't the drive, but like Chris said, many community colleges have great facilities for students, faculty, and staff. So, I understand. Yeah.
Sorry, Coach. This is actually a good chance to segue to a question that Walter Butler asked in the chat. So Chris, I'll knock this one out. Walter asked about, coordinating with other offices, right? If you're going to think about a project that could involve ITS or facilities or other groups on campus, what's the proper way to get your ducks in a row to put an application through? We're conscious of that. I mean, I'm aware during annual update season how much people, they have an idea and then they want to find out a dollar amount for it. So they go through a process with an office to figure out a series of quotes or to get some information about how much it would cost. And then they spend a lot of time on that and they either miss a deadline or it's too hard to put that cart before the horse of actually putting an application through. That's why when we talked about the budgeting process of this grant application, we want to make sure that, back of the envelope will be okay. We don't want people to invest a lot of time in engaging other offices in a formal way to say, okay, I need to go through a bid process, or I've got to get this many formal things, or I need to go have facilities do, a formal space assessment. I think this is the kind of thing where if you bring, an idea or, some thought out work with other colleagues on campus, we'll look at that and see that more work is needed. That's not going to discount, against your application. We want to see that kind of collaboration too. A key part of what the application is going to be here is that, your application has the endorsement of your supervisor, so that if you're a classified staff member who has a great idea, your dean or your director or whomever knows that you have put this idea in there and that you can potentially be thinking about working on it for a period of 2 years. We want to make sure that we're clearing the way so that folks don't end up with any sort of roadblocks along the way there. And we also don't want people to get stuck in a long line with an office that's overtaxed, trying to wait for some sort of formal stamp of approval before you can put your application through. So I don't know if that actually answers your question, Walter, but that's at least the thinking on this thing. Perfect, thanks. I think Leticia was next.
Yes, I was just going to call on her. Good morning, Leticia. How are you?
Good morning, I'm well, thank you. How's everybody?
Good, it's good to see you.
Good to see everyone. And thank you for having this opportunity for us to be able to share the ideas, to not just have the application to read. And there's so many things that come up. I work in DSPS, and I think that things that my colleagues and I have been ideas that we've been tossing around kind of check off a lot of the boxes for this grant. So I'm really excited about that from the get-go. As far as closing the gap, that has been something that's always been top of our list, especially with the community, the population of students whom we serve. Since AB 705 was implemented, we've seen a lot of gains in the general student population, and there's a lot of data on the benefits that they're reaping from it. There's also some data and on the students with disabilities, how they are disproportionately negatively impacted by the implementation of this program, and we're kind of seeing them fall through the cracks. And as they fall through the cracks, they're out of the equation, so the equation looks more robust, and because it's not taking into account the students who are no longer in the picture.
Sure.
And so there's an idea of that would involve community as far as reaching out to feeder schools in the district, catching them and preparing students somehow before they step foot in that first college level English class or first college level math class, so that they don't time out and then again slip through the cracks. I'm thinking big picture would be like a 2-year project, and it would be collaborative with other areas on campus who are already working with the general population of students to close that gap for similar reasons. And I'm thinking is like a pilot program for something that could later be institutionalized. Is that something that this grant could support, or is it a 2-year, that's it, done, and what you set out to do should be done in 2 years?
I think let me make sure I understand what you're saying, that you're really looking to be a lot more proactive with the students that require some of the services that are being underserved. They get into the classroom for a couple weeks and they fall through the cracks because they don't have the access to the resources as quickly as they should to get off on the right foot, right? So I think a pilot program, we wouldn't want to introduce a pilot program that then gets shut off in 2 years,
Right.
But I think whatever you come up with should have room to be absorbed without needing to be funded by a grant program like this every year. Institutionalizing it, figuring out a way to do that. But obviously this grant program can provide the seed money to get that ball rolling. So I would say I think you're going in the right direction, and just be thinking about, now that we have this up and moving, what's it going to cost to keep it going? And do the people that take care of your budgetary manners on a regular basis, do they get that? And are they willing to say, like, let's get it rolling and then we'll continue to fund it as we move along? Again, asking Alex to jump in and let me know where he is with that.
Well, it's not to me. I think this is exactly in line with the parameters of the grant program, right? The idea here is that this money exists to help us spur some thinking and to try new things. And if those things catch on and they're going to help and they're going to do something that we haven't been able to do yet, then all the better, right? I would encourage folks who have this kind of idea to mention that in your application, right? These funds would help us do something that we've been meaning to do for a long time. We could give it an 18-month pilot, and then we could have 6 months to make a decision about where it goes beyond that. But again, the grant program is not going to look on continuing programs beyond the 2-year window. So if it is something that's structured as a pilot, please be prepared to have a way to think about how it's either going to get picked up or phased out. You don't have to answer that when you're doing the application, right? But at least know that that's going to be the framework, beyond the life of this grant.
And that brings up, thank you, Alex. And that brings up another question then. This is the first cycle of this. And if we do for 2 years, would we be eligible to continue through applying for another cycle?
I'm going to take that, Chris. I think it's probably too early in this program to answer that question. This is we're not building the plane as we take off on the runway, but we certainly have the plane in the air, and we're adding some new features as it flies. So I think we're going to want to, I can't commit to what we might look on in the future, but I know that the vision here is to try, to spread the wealth, try new ideas all over the place, and not commit future grant spending years to programs, from previous award cycles.
Thank you.
Yeah, these questions are great. These conversations are great because they definitely help us from the, grant planning area. Like, well, we should have thought a little bit more about this, or maybe we need to build this in to future programs. So again, I appreciate everybody's participation today and sharing your ideas, because it will definitely help in future years, kind of mold this program and do everything that we can do to make it amazing, as we know it has the capability to be. Coach Taylor's hand is still up. Did you have a follow-up or anything extra you wanted to ask?
No, I don't know how to take my hand down. How do I take my hand down?
Go back to reactions and then you can click on lower your hand. I just won't call on you again unless you speak up. Who else has questions or comments that they want to bring up? We're doing really well for time. So if there's things you guys want to kick around in this space, please feel free to raise your hand. Okay, Jamal.
Yeah, I can put it in the chat, but I am that kind of person that cannot go back and forth.
That's
So a
okay.
couple of questions I had over there. When we talk about the 1 million, we talk about 1 million per year, or are we talking about 1 million for 2 years that we have?
We will have $1 million available each fiscal year to award in grant funds. So if we spend it all, that's one thing. If we don't spend it all, not sure if we'll roll it over or if we'll add to, but then the next year would be another different $1 million. So again, knowing that we're not going to fund one project at $1 million, but if you're, I mean, I suppose if you were looking, Alex, we're not going to fund a project partial money in 1 year and partial money in the next year. We would fund them in 1 year and they have 2 years to complete. Is that what we're saying?
I think that's the theory. I'm not exactly sure the mechanics that fiscal or whomever would have to pay that money out. But the idea here is that you would apply for this cycle and earn $1 million grant or whatever it would be, $30,000, 45, whatever it's going to be, on July 1st of 2022. And then you, the administrator or the person running that program, would have 2 years to spend that money down. That's the vision here.
Yeah.
And then in next July 2023, the new cycle of grant awardees would show up, and we'd have this sort of 2-year rolling window of grants being under administration.
So is it possible to, I mean, I'm trying to figure this out. So let's say that I got granted for 40,000 and I want another 40,000 for the second year. Is it something that I have to mention right now that I need 40,000 this year, 40,000 next year, or are we just going to spend the 40,000 and apply again for next year?
It sounds like you have an $80,000 project that's going to be broken over 2 years.
All right. And the second part was, do the faculty get any incentive? Can we put some kind of incentive for the faculty, or this is just for everybody except faculty?
The use of the word incentive is interesting to me. If there is money to be paid to a faculty member to learn something or to put a program into place, or if that's part of the budget structure, we're open to that. What Chris, I think, shared was that this is not a program that's just going to stipend faculty with no other, component, right? So think of that in terms of the general overall budget and the comprehensive picture of a project, not specifically just for that item.
All right. Thank you very much. I have to go to the class. Very informative. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamal.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you.
Walter.
Walter's hand is up. Yes.
Yeah. Is there a template for the budget proposal that we should be using, or do we just create our own?
You can create your own.
Okay.
If that looks like a spreadsheet that has dollars and cents and very specific figures in it, then we want that. If it's more of a narrative, because you're still getting quotes, doing research, we just want you to be as specific as possible, but to give as much information in the way that's going to be the most helpful for the committee to make a decision.
Perfect. Thanks.
You're welcome. Anything else that is on people's minds? I know a number of folks haven't asked questions. Is there anything burning in the back of your head that you think maybe I'll just email Chris later and ask her, but feel free to share that. Y'all know the old adage that there's no such thing as a stupid question, especially when we're talking about money.
In this case, there's no such thing as a silly grant application.
That's right. We love all questions. And people's brains are probably boiling over like with, oh my gosh, what do I ask for and how much? And it's an exciting time. We're really excited to be able to do this. The grant program was one of the favorite parts of my job back in the day when we were giving away little tiny ones. So yeah, I'm really jazzed at the opportunities here. So very grateful that, oh, Coach Taylor has another question. Daryl, what's up?
I'm back.
That's
So,
super.
if we work on a program where we just do staffing, at this point, those facilities aren't available if they're not staffed. If we were able to just staff a few gyms for activities and it worked and we had some way to monitor that and say, hey, it was a success, that would be something possibly then to develop into something ongoing, maybe within our division along those lines. Would that be something feasible?
Are you asking for only staffing?
If that could work, I mean, if that could be something to get this ball rolling, maybe I would do that.
I think
I would like to improve some facilities there for more activities, but to get it up and make it seem viable, say, hey, we got another 3,000 or 5,000 people coming through this facility, during this program. We think it's a viable and something we should pursue in the future.
Yeah. Well, I think, again, to harken back to the idea of whatever you ask for now to be able to keep that going in the future, and not just asking for money to staff a project, but maybe to upgrade that project too. If the gym facilities are going to be open to the public as in a membership, how often will they be clean? How often will, money for enhancing equipment, repairing equipment, and money for staffing. And that reminds me, Coach Taylor, of we did give you a grant back in the day to open that performance studio with a staffing model. But I think you guys were part of natural sciences back then. It was not, you weren't your own division. So things are probably a lot more different now, but I think,
you know what, that worked quite well. And when we lost that funding, that room closed.
Yeah. So I think that's what you want to be wary of, is if you're going to request that as a part of the project, that you have commitment from your dean, that you have an understanding that to make it institutionalized, that they'll need to be some kind of follow-up moving forward, so that it's not like we're going to enhance this concept for 2 years and then we have to close it again. So does that make sense?
Yeah. In other words, talk to Dion.
Yeah. Get Dion to back you on this and come up with a game plan for keeping it open moving forward.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you. Adrina.
Yes, with the Mary Thompson's email, there was an attachment that says grant application questions. So if we follow that format, that should be okay. There's no like online, the application is not online, or
The application is online. There's a
Oh.
link in that PDF that you'll click on. And actually, let me get out of this PowerPoint really quickly, because I shared that on Monday.
Oh, there it is. I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay,
I
yeah,
don't
so
see
you're
the
gonna
page.
do the application online. We put the questions in that PDF just so that you would be prepared, like, this is what I'm going to be responding to. So, and there's plenty of room to do as much writing as you need to make your case, to explain your project. And then after Monday's session, we did add the opportunity to upload photos and upload additional documents. So there's 2 not required file uploads that you could do: PDFs, Excel spreadsheets, Word documents, and then there's 2 uploads if you have photos that you want to share.
Okay,
If you
great.
need if you wanted to share more than 2 photos, I would scan those photos into a PDF and upload those in the file upload part.
Okay, great. Yeah, so that would actually be a pretty good cheat sheet or working sheet. You could
Yeah,
use
a good planning
cut and
sheet.
paste.
Yeah.
And the other question is, in the estimated cost, like if there's any cost associated with it, if it's something that PCC Facilities is going to do we estimate that as well in the grant, or it wouldn't be part of the, let's say some moving of the equipment and that facilities does, and or then painting the walls or something like that, that's part of the equipment that we're getting, or some things attached to the wall.
I think that it's an alignment too with the question that Walter asked, like how much collaborating with other offices and divisions do you need to do prior to the application being submitted? And I think we want to do the best that we can, knowing that we have a strict timeline, but to know that if you know that your project is going to include having to get facilities or ITS support in making it happen, to include that in your narrative and be as specific as you can with the time you're allotted to work.
Okay, who would we get the breakdown of the cost? How do we estimate that?
Well, that kind of ties back to the comment we made about, where to get your ducks in a row on this. I don't want people to get off this call and then immediately call up the one person in facilities who can estimate what it would take to remodel something. And then that person's going to have 20 things to estimate. If it's something like moving something and repainting something, I think the committee would respond to a nice round number in a budget narrative, $5,000. I'm just pulling that number out of the sky, and I encourage you to do the same. If instead you're saying that, gosh, there's this space here that really needs a substantial renovation and we want to move a door, that might require a couple conversations. There's being a little bit more with facilities. But again, we don't want people to get bogged down in waiting for a formal bid process or some long series of meetings because they're trying to fill in a spot on a spreadsheet, right? If you're hoping to do something different with a facility that exists, we'll look at estimates and see through your vision and your plan and not get bogged down in the specific details of the dollar amount.
Thank you.
Yep.
Are there any other questions that Alex and I can field for you guys today? We'll take the recording, we'll pull some FAQs together, we'll get all this up on the foundation webpage. You can email me anytime, and if it's a question I can't answer, I will pick Alex's brain. We are really excited that you carved time out of your schedules this morning to be here and to learn more about this program, and we're really excited to see all of the amazing things that you guys are going to share. Alex, is there anything else you would like to share at this time?
I'm just so happy to see so much energy. This is fantastic. We're really glad that we're starting to catch an audience here, and we're looking forward to seeing applications. So hope to see your stuff on March 4th.
Yes, beautiful way to kick off our hump day. Thank you, everyone. Have an amazing day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.